After watching Fantastic Four first steps, let me cut to the chase. It's neither great nor bad, and the only thing I will tell you up front is that it's woke. No matter how much anyone tries to deny it, it's super woke. Just not so evident about it. That being said, a bit more into it, if what you're looking for is a visually attractive movie with vibrant colors, bursts of action, and a solid dose of digital effects, this new installment checks all those boxes. Compared to previous versions, it's likely to be more enjoyable for a wider audience, especially those hoping for something a bit more mature. And when I say mature, I mean that in the loosest possible way. This movie isn't serious at all. From that angle, the version with Chris Evans as the Human Torch still holds up better in terms of internal logic, even though it never aimed for seriousness nor tried to say anything deep. Actually, that's why, because that one embraced its lightness and made it work. This one tries to be emotional and reflective, take itself a little bit more seriously, but never really sticks the landing. Its strongest point is very likely the visual design, the aesthetic, the sets, the art direction. They all give the movie a distinct personality. In that sense, it offers something a little bit different than the usual. While it vaguely recalls the look of the time variance authority of the Marvel Universe, it does it with a different palette and more consistency between elements, meaning that every element throughout the movie is designed on the same pattern, which is great. Actually, it's really good. That helps giving the movie a visual identity that actually sticks. Moving on to the cast, shout out to Paul Walter Hauser, who only appears briefly but always adds value. He's got that magnetic presence that lifts any scene he is in. Super charismatic guy. As for the main cast, the choices are mixed. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards doesn't quite land. He plays his part competently, but he never really feels like the genius level intellect the character is supposed to be. His expression and energy say something else entirely, more like a substitute teacher on his first day, overwhelmed by everything. He seems more like a fish out of the water than a brilliant scientist. Instead of a convincing Reed Richards, he gives off the vibe of a second-rate Troy McClure trying to play Reed Richards. But that has a reason probably. Very likely this movie requires that the man, the leader, steps aside and makes room for the female protagonist that actually leads the film. Vanessa Kirby, on the other hand, has a strong and sophisticated presence, and while she doesn't look miscast, neither does Pedro Pascal, he does okay. But in her case, she reminds you constantly that she'd better be suited for roles like a spy, a double agent, or femme fatale. She never quite projects the warmth or closeness you'd expect from a maternal figure, which throws things off when you see her in that role. Also, there's not much chemistry between them. The script tells us there's a connection, but it doesn't feel real. Unlike Lois Lane and Clark Kent in James Gunn's Superman, where there's real chemistry and you feel the relationship they have right away, here it feels forced, and no matter how much they try to fake it in press junkets, with hugs and flirty poses, it doesn't translate to the screen. Technically speaking, the CGI is mostly solid, though there are small glitches that break the illusion in certain scenes. One I recall is a moment in which the thing holds a baby, which happens in several occasions. He has a sweater on and the baby looks off. It just doesn't quite sell. It's not a disaster, but you'll notice it if you're used to spot visual effects. Despite how much effort clearly went into this movie, it's not movie magic. It's not just something that blows your mind. You know it's digital, and they're struggling to make it look real, but it looks digital. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad. Saying that nowadays means the movie has a really solid point in VFX. The emotional aspect of the movie doesn't quite reach the heart as it's supposed to. A huge example of that happens around the minute 45 of the movie. There's a scene clearly meant to be emotional. The problem is, it doesn't quite get there. Sure, you might feel something if you're already in the mood and want to feel something, but the whole moment leans too hard on the viewer's capacity to get emotional, and the music, which ramps up way too much to compensate for what the writing and directing do not deliver. It's not badly done. It works, but it's too obvious, pushed right in front of your face, and it doesn't hit. Speaking of the script, as for writing choices, several moments are questionable to say the least. One major example that shows actually in the trailers, so it's not a spoiler. is when Reed Richards publicly tells the world that Galactus wants their baby in order to spare the planet, and that he's not giving it up, even if that puts everyone else at risk. That's a major turning point in the film, but the scene makes very little internal sense, especially regarding Galactus offering that deal when you see the outcome by the end of the movie. And actually, not giving a baby means they won't have a planet to keep him safe. So, altogether, that scene in particular feels like it was written purely to force a future conflict that didn't need to exist and happens for no real reason, other forcefully telling us they care about babies again. In a key sequence, Reed Richards, instead of acting like the brilliant mind he's supposed to be, he behaves reactively and irrationally. And for something so small in between something really important, and Susie has to clean up the mess because he can't make a level-headed decision. The scene is clearly designed to contrast their approaches, with her solving the problems that men create. They mess up, she cleans up, and Reed in particular comes off looking incompetent. The climax with Galactus also feels underwhelming, not really matching the threat level that such a powerful character should bring. Again, throughout the movie, especially in key moments, Susie's front and center. She is the unquestioned leader, and the visual framing reinforces that. She's the lead of the film. The camera centers on her face in pivotal scenes, while Reed Richards literally gets cropped out of the frame mercilessly. While the movie says family all the time, she's clearly the pillar of the whole story, and everyone else is secondary. Even Johnny, the Human Torch, which is a waste, because the character is pretty good, and the actor does a really good job. But the most underused character is the Thing, who basically becomes background decoration in this version of the Fantastic Four, which is a shame because every time he's on screen, the scenes have a different tone and are arguably the most watchable. He's totally wasted as a character. Beyond all the cinematic stuff, let's just say plainly, this is a woke movie. Really woke, and I mean it. So, I don't have a problem with that, as long as the movie is entertaining. But this is way more than I expected, especially now that Disney is supposedly trying to walk that back after the backlash. From start to finish, there are strong progressive strokes all over the place. It's dressed up a little bit, but surprisingly blatant for a film that seems to represent the company pretending to shift directions. So while the central message may seem like family, it's really just a front, a vehicle to sneak in a full-on feminist narrative wrapped around in a cozy layer of soft-serve communism. Now, knowing what you're in for, and being aware of the disguised politics between the lines, the general audience might still enjoy it. If they're willing to ignore the woke progressive agenda, it's not so bad as a movie. It's just mediocre, just another movie. But it's not bad. It helps that the film flows at a decent pace, looks good, and is easy to watch. It's not a bad option for watching with kids as long as the goal is just to have a light time and not think too hard about the logic or plot consistency. They won't ask many questions, so in that sense, it's good. And just like I said about Superman in a previous video, I said that it aimed at a younger crowd, but still gives something to adults who want to feel young again for a couple of hours. In this case, Fantastic Four is clearly geared toward kids and teens. There's nothing there for adults. Anyone past mid-adolescence is probably going to be thrown off by the plot holes, though if all you want is spectacle and fireworks, it becomes tolerable. As a standalone film, it's far from a gem. It has some good moments and some bad ones. It plays with forced emotion, somewhat artificial conflicts, and performances that don't always deliver nor line up with the characters they're meant to portray. To put it clearly, if I had to pick between Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four, I'd go with Superman by James Gunn without hesitation. It offers a tighter story, lovable characters, and genuinely moving scenes. And yeah, I said tighter story. Because say what you want, repeat Ben Shapiro or any YouTuber that threw trash to the movie. Some folks just do not know how a film works and still can't understand what they're watching. But if you've already seen that one and you're just looking for some flashy family-tinged visuals, Fantastic Four can be entertaining. Just manage your expectations. And if you think what I said here isn't enough, or lacks details, comment below. I'll be delighted to upload a spoiler-filled video going into all of it there. As for me, in conclusion, I watched Superman twice, and it actually gets better on the second viewing. Fantastic Four, though, let's just say, it probably won't age that well on repeat. But whatever you do not listen to me. Do not listen to anyone if you can. Just go to the movies. Go for the collective experience on your own. Enjoy the cinema. And do not wait till it comes out on streaming. That will be the actual waste.